Okay, welcome everyone to today's lesson. Today we are going to be talking about ecosystem dynamics and largely their kind of fragility and how very quickly everything in an ecosystem, excuse me, can go haywire if even one little thing is removed. Today we'll be using a little technology. This website is called Ecology Lab, and in it, it allows you to sort of run an ecosystem simulation. And this website kind of allows you to kind of input things, take things out, change certain aspects of an ecosystem, and lets you run through multiple days to see what the effects of removing or adding something would have to an ecosystem. As you can see in the food web, it has everything you would need here. You have a top apex predator, everything it eats. You have the omnivores. Of course, we know those are things that eat plants and animals. You have the herbivores. You're just eating plants. At the way bottom here, you have plants, also known as producers. You have the option to turn everything on, turn everything off. If you yourself just want to select something, then of course, remove everything, reset it. You can pause, you can skip days, reset that, or you can reset it. You have up here your options, producers, or just a specific food web. So I think it could be fun. Let's play around with this a little bit and let's talk about what any of this actually means. So let's just go all on, just right off the bat. And here we go. As you can see, we're running through the days. I think this would represent maybe a grassland, given the representation of the wolf, snails, rabbits, stuff like that. Down here, you have a chart of how well everything is doing. Everything seems pretty balanced. Everything is in the ecosystem right now. Plant A doing really well, given that's grass. That makes a lot of sense. That's kind of your base food source. Kind of surprised it doesn't have a kind of microorganisms in here, because those are a very, very important part of any ecosystem. So let's reset that. All right, so let's go all on again, and let's just take out, say, top predator. Let's see what happens. If you can do that. Okay, well, what if we select everything else? That's weird. All right, what about food? I literally just did this right before running this thing. This is disappointing. Okay, here we go. Let's run this like this. And let's go. Yeah, this is getting wonky a little bit. Actually, kind of remain in balance. So maybe that wasn't the best example. So let's try something else. Producers. Let's go all on. Let's see if we can take this guy out, or have it just eat one thing. There we go. So now the top predator in the system will just be eating, which one's this? Herbivore C. So let's just see what happens. I think this can have a pretty big effect. Wow. Oh. Yeah, so herbivore A is going nuts right now. As we can see, herbivore A will only will eat all these plants. Without herbivore C, there is a niche that is not filled, which means that something that was currently being done in an ecosystem is not being done. A niche is kind of a biological role that a species plays. This is individual to every single species. Humans, the niche we hold is essentially, I want to say apex predator, but of like the planet, but that might not be the best term. But I think if you were to let this run fully, you would see complete collapse of the ecosystem, which I think you would see if you removed any of these out of the system. Let's try this again. Preset. Now let's remove all the herbivores. There we go. So now we have there are no herbivores in the system, just omnivores and plants. Let's go. All right, so plant A is taking off. And oh, wow. Yep. So this would pretty much be ecosystem collapse. You had the little dips there. Yeah, this would not be a good thing at all. So let's reset that again. And like we tried earlier, let's remove the top predator. There's a very common misconception when it comes to these top predators. They're not just vicious man eaters like sharks. People are afraid of sharks. I myself am terrified of sharks. Jaws, sharkweed terrified me as a kid. Sharks don't just eat healthy animals. Predators will always take the easiest meal. Most often, this is sick. This is diseased animals. Diseases have a hard time crossing species. So they can do this without getting hurt. If those fish are allowed to propagate and continue, a whole lot of bad things happen. So let's see this. When we remove the apex predator from a system, this is incredibly relevant as there's a lot of debates right now about killing these wolves in, I believe it's Wisconsin and Montana over in Yellowstone or in Canada. Let's do this. Yep. And, see that? Grass, so the grass is plummeting. That would be, what is that? Plant A. Meanwhile, the omnivores are doing very, very well. And once again, I think if you were to let this run even more, maybe we can. Oh, yeah, we can let it run. Oh, I thought it went. Yep, so we're just going to let this run a little bit. Yes, the omnivores are dominating. I think you keep letting this run, it's not going to go well. Eventually, the whole thing's just going to collapse. All these are days. Ecosystems take months, sometimes years to completely change. So it's not going to be overnight, but it will eventually happen. And you can play around with this yourself. There are some pretty fun things in this website. Like I said, you can just go a certain food web. Let's just throw another plant into the mix here and make herbivore A eat it. See what happens to the population. Yep. So we see plant A kind of skyrockets a little bit, then everything just kind of levels out. So no surprise there. Adding another food source to a system is never a bad thing. But let's take this same food web and let's add no other plants, omnivore B, and let's have it eat plant A and herbivore A. This is incredibly relevant within the realm of conversation of invasive species. Florida, obviously, is a huge problem with that. It's a very tropical climate. People who keep pets, like those big Burmese pythons, will release them out there, and they just cause havoc, like those snakehead fish years back. Let's try this. Yep. So we see plant A, the grass, do pretty well initially, followed by a complete crash down, and it seems that herbivore A is completely extinct. The introduction of this new species completely wiped out this established herbivore. That is not good. That is very not good. Let's see if we can run this another 100 days, see what happens. All right, nothing really happened. Things are stabilized, but let's throw in. Let's throw in an apex top predator. Let's have him eat. Or, actually, better idea, another omnivore, a competing species. Let's see what happens. And let's have these guys eat each other as well. Let's see what happens. Wow, that was remarkably disappointing. Or let's have omnivore A not eat omnivore B. Then, boom. You know what? I got a better idea. Let's add this one. Omnivore. And he will eat herbivore A and omnivore A along with plant A. I think a good comparison to this one would be silver carp. I'd say the Asian carp that are a big problem here in the Midwest. Carp are devastating all around. They're bottom sifters, so when they're sifting through the mud and stuff to find new food, that throws a lot of bad chemicals up in the water. They'll eat plants, they'll eat fish eggs. They are very, very destructive. I think omnivore bee be a good representation of not only silver carp but common carp, which are also an invasive species, but they got here in the 1800s, so you need basically magic to get rid of them. Let's see. Yeah, that did not go well. So yeah, almost immediately what we saw with the addition to Omnivore B was the quick extinction of Omnivore A and Herbivore A. That's not good. Let's see what happens when we add another herbivore. Or two herbivores with only one food source. Now this is interesting because Omnivore B also relies on plant A, which it also relied on herbivore A. The addition of two extra herbivores, which Omnivore B did not eat, there's a variety of species where that could apply to, led to extremely low levels of plant A. Let's see if we can run this for another 100 days. Yeah, so Omnivore B is now completely extinct. Not obviously not awesome. Seems that herbivore B and C are doing pretty good, but this is not an ecosystem that could sustain itself in the long term. This is something that would ultimately collapse. Now let's add a apex predator that eats all those. And these guys too. Let's run that another 100 days. Wow. I'm kind of shocked here, honestly. It seems that omnivore, top predator, is extinct. Oh, I see. Those didn't take. Yeah, let's try that again. Okay, well, hold on. I made a mistake. Let's try this again. He's going to eat plant A. And, it's going to be easier if we do it like this. Producers. All on. And he's not going to eat herbivore B, herbivore C. Yes, we're going to remove these two plants. These guys are not going to eat each other. Actually, yeah, how I had it last time. Yes, he's not going to eat herbivore B. And let's just see what happens here. As I suspected, the omnivores are pretty much gone. The omnivores and herbivore A are pretty much gone. Whole lesson here, we need to be very careful when introducing new species. This is a problem in the fisheries industry, which is my field. People introduce a grass carp, or like the carp earlier, the Asian carp, to control algae in aquaculture systems. We get a lot of rain, rivers flood, those entire farms flood, fish get released in the wild. Now you have those videos like on Up Animal Planet with the boats going down the Illinois River and people getting hit in the face by massive carp. That is a result of that. It's a lot of problem. Plants too. I imagine you could have a similar website with this that didn't even have animals at all, just had plants. Similar thing there. Bugs, anything. Ecosystems are an incredibly delicate thing. They're adaptable. If you remove something after a very, very long time, something else will evolve to fill that niche. But the problem is humans are destroying things at such a fast rate that nature, these animals, plants cannot evolve with it. That is a problem. We need to be careful with what we do with the environment. Thank you very much. Goodbye.